Yes, so when we started in 2012, the situation was that there had been documentation because in 2006, 2007, 2008, alongside, because of the peace accord which ended the war, there was a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, commonly known like TRC, and this TRC did fantastic work to document not all, but many of the crimes.
Yeah.
And they came up in 2009 with a report that your listeners can still find online, where basically there were lists of people who, according to the TRC, had committed war crimes. And the recommendation, very clear of the TRC, which were only Liberians commissioners, and they said that there should be the setting up of a war crime court. So when we started in 2012, the victims were very, very discouraged because for many years, their understanding was there would be a war crime court, because this was the recommendation of the TRC, but there was nothing. And many people were fearful, and they were, to go back to your question, they were very reluctant and not very encouraged to talk to us because they could not see anything concrete. But they were very aware of, as you said, that many of the perpetrators were still in town. And as a matter of fact, some of them are very big political figures still today in Liberia. And I'm happy to say that 10 years later, so now we are in 2023, and because of all this effort of justice outside, trials in the United States, trials in Europe, trials in many different countries, I think in a way that fear has a slightly changed side. And now the victims are much more open to talk. Every day on the radio talk show in Monrovia, you have listeners calling and talking about that. And I think there was a widespread consensus that among the population that there should be the establishment of a war crime court. So now I think it's much more easy to document, and because victims have seen that actually there has been effort of justice outside with concrete results, convictions, and sentencing.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But do you see the effort now to focus more on outside of Liberia, or do you think Liberians are still hoping, or like they're still hopeful to have a local war crime court for them?
Yeah, but this is a perfect question. I think that, you see, the model which was developed with our friends and colleagues in Liberia at that time, in 2012, was really to go outside because basically there could not be justice inside. And it was still today, I think it's just to do one criminal proceedings is complicated. There needs to be a political consensus. So this is why Liberian went outside Liberia, in Europe, in the United States. But now, 10 years later, I think we are in a stage, and there will be elections, presidential election in Liberia at the end of this year. I think there was a large consensus, as you said, that now there needs to be a shift. And yes, I mean, I think it's still important to have, and they are ongoing anyway, these proceedings outside Liberia. But now basically the model would be a fantastic legacy that Liberia could give to the world, to have looked for justice outside, and this justice outside at the end brings back justice inside. And I think this is the hope and the ambition of many Liberians. And if we can facilitate or help, especially by documenting all these trials outside, as we are trying to do on our website, we're documenting all this trial monitoring to make it available for Liberians and for everybody. I think it will be a fantastic contribution to international justice by Liberia if eventually all this effort outside bring justice inside.